subscribers and viewers of OWUUBII channel. I welcome you to this wonderful channel. So in this video, we are going to talk about how to strengthen Mikrotik router. So we are going to strengthen Mikrotik router. We're going to go through a series of processes to strengthen Mikrotik router. If I talk about strengthening Mikrotik router, I'm talking about further protecting your Mikrotik router from intrusions and other forms of attack. So kindly stay tuned, watch me as I give you this wonderful and beautiful piece of video. Thank you. So without wasting time, let's quickly log into our Mikrotik router and start with our configuration. So with respect to this router, I've done a series of configurations on it. I did VLAN configurations on it, so don't be surprised when you see VLAN on it. Okay, so the first thing we would have to do to strengthen this router is to first of all set password, complex password. Okay, and to do that we need to come to system and then users. Under users, you would be able to see the system default user, which is already here. Okay, so let's change the password. And so I'm giving it a complex password. So that is the first thing to do in hardening your router. Okay, so I need to do the password. It says remove. Okay, let me create a different username and then okay, now I can remove this and add a new admin and then make it full. So this is the new complex password I've set for these users. Okay, so first of all, before you can log in into the router, this interface or the web interface or any other interface, you would require a password I just set here. So let's see an example of it. And so okay, so this is it. If I log in this way, it is going to tell me wrong username and password, and so I need to add the password I just set here, and then now it can grant me access into the router. So the first thing we are handling is the setting of password for the router. This server here, which is streaming, and so this is my IP 20.2 192.168.20.2, which means this is the IP which will be available for these services. Okay, so let me copy this IP and replicate it to other services as well. I can do same with this. I can change the IP and then put in a different IP. Okay, the same thing with this. And so let me basically add them as an example. If you don't mind and you want this router to be available on a particular network, you can actually do it down here. So instead of 2/24, I mean instead of 20.2, you can make it 20.0/24, which means the network that falls under this will be able to have access to this router. Okay, but in this case I'm using one specific IP because I don't want it to be exposed to other hosts that might be on the network. And so I can likewise change the port number here and assign the IP. So I'm doing it for all of these IP services. Okay, so this is the win box. Sorry. Okay, great. And so if you look carefully, I've told this device that it is only this IP which will be able to access it. And so if I change it to a different IP, there is no way I'll be able to access this router unless I am on this same IP. And so let me show you an example. Sorry. I'm going to assign to myself a static IP of 20.3 and see if I'll be able to connect to this particular router. Okay, and so this is the IP. Now let me see if I'll be able to access this router with the same IP. It's going to be very difficult to do that. Let me try. And so this is it, right? There's no way. But to access it using the MAC address, that will be very possible. Okay, that will be very possible to do. But now the next thing to do, okay, so I've been able to log in using the MAC address. But now in this case, I want to further strengthen it. So I'm going to disable the MAC server. Okay, I'm going to disable this. Where is it? Okay, MAC server. So this is the MAC server. I'm going to try to disable it. And apply. I can do same with this as well, but this will affect the telnet, this will affect the winbox, this will affect the ping. Okay, if I can further disable this MAC ping server, and so I'm going to try to log in with the MAC address of the router again and see if it's going to give me access. Obviously it's going to deny me access. There's no way I'm going to get access into this router. Okay, so I've further strengthened it, and this is the third thing to do. Okay, it's neither the IP address nor the MAC address will work. So in this case, if I am the owner of this network, because I know the specific IP I've assigned the IP service list to be able to get access into this router, I'll quickly go back and change my IP to to the IP I specified. Okay, to the IP I specified in the router. And so let me quickly change it to the IP I specified, and then now I'll be able to get access into this router. Okay, now let me try it again and see. Bingo, I'm inside, all because I'm back and I'm using this IP address. This is the IP address I specify to be available from this IP service list, and these are the means by which you can get into the Mikrotik router. Without these means, or if all these services are blocked, there is no way you'll be able to get into this router. So please keep in mind. So let me go back to the tools and enable the Mac interface, Mac server for this as well. So which means if I enable this, or it means from any port on this router you'll be able to have access to this interface. So this is the third thing we are dealing with. Let me disable this, guys. So that it will be easier for me when at least I obtain a different IP to get in. This is just for test purposes. Okay. The third thing, the fourth feature to tackle with in terms of strengthening this router is to configure firewall rules. Okay. So in this firewall rule, we are going to configure this firewall rule to enable, to allow certain IPs to access this router. And to do that, we need to use the input rule and specify the IP which can be able to access this router. So in this case, 191.168.20.2 can be able to access this router. Okay. And let's configure a rule that says that no IP can be able to access this router except the IP I have specified. Okay. So in this case, drop all connections trying to access this router. So I'm going to change my IP address and see if I'll be able to access this interface. So let me quickly do that. And see what happens. Okay. Okay. There is no way I'll be able to connect to it unless I go back to the IP I have specified in there. Let me use the MAC address. okay, with the MAC address, it's going to give me access because of this we enabled. If we disable it, so let me try disabling it and see. The reason why I've left it on is in case I have issues with the IP, at least I can get into it using the MAC address. So let me just leave it like that. And so let me go back. Using the IP, it is difficult to get into the router. It's simply not going to allow you because of the rule we just configured. It will never work until I've come back to my IP settings on the host machine and then change my IP to suit the one I configured in the router to enable me access into the router. Okay, and that will be the only IP that will be able to access the router. So now let me try it again and see. Bam, I'm inside. I'm inside and it works perfectly. Now let me try disable this configuration, this firewall configuration I just did, and then change the IP address of the host machine, and then you will notice that it will still give me access because I've not blocked any network from getting access into the router. Okay, so now let me try and see if I can still have access to it. And so as you can see, I have access into this router. Okay, now the fourth thing to handle, the fourth thing to deal with is blocking of unused ports. Let's assume we have so let me check on my bridges first. 9 to 10 web. Okay, so let's say 8 to 10. Okay, so let's say we have this number of ports. Okay, let's say from port 1 to port 5 are usable, and some certain services has been configured on them. Now you have the rest, which is, let's say, from 6 to 10, but you don't want any form of illegal connection because perhaps you've not added them to any bridge or configured any services on them. And so what you will likely do is to block these ports. I mean, you deactivate them, you make them inactive. So no matter who plugs any cable in this port, it's never going to work. They are all going to be deactivated. It will never work. If you want to enable it, you simply select them and then you enable them here. So we've come to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for staying glued to this channel. Please don't forget to hit on the subscription button, like my videos, share my videos, and your comments are expected as well. Thank you very much and hope to see you again.